Hello, welcome to, well, a new stream, really. First one on a Thursday for a while, and I will be handing straight over to Lucas, and he's going to be playing Brawlhalla, as it's one of the games he likes and he's comfortable with, and he will be talking a bit about his ADHD and things like that. So I'm going to switch over the view to the game view. Do drop messages in the chat, and if he picks them up, he'll answer them. But obviously, do forgive him if he doesn't get round to any of them direct, because as you'll find out when he talks about his ADHD, it's concentrating on multiple things at once. Isn't particularly easy, but please do feel free to say hello, ask any questions, and he'll pick them up. So, as we switch over, I'm going to pass over to Lucas, and he will take over the game. So obviously introduce yourself and stuff like that, Lucas.
Online. Online.
What?
Just start talking, Lucas. You can't just wait for people.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for the game to start though.
3, 2, 1, brawl!
Talk about the frustrations you have, like when you're trying to do things.
I chose this game because it's one of my favourite games to play. I play it a lot on my Xbox. See anything on there then?
I'll move it a little bit. You can't have it too far away, so you won't be able to be heard.
Yeah, I know, because it's just the way I won't be able to see anything. So the idiot next to me is annoying. Huh? One person. I think it might.
Player 2 wins. Orion. 2, 1, brawl.
For real? Can't really talk when there's no one on the game on the stream. And you can edit out the parts that I don't speak in. Yeah, it would. I think that should. Who are the viewers? I've got 6 viewers.
Yes, you have now.
Because don't plug in for business, I think.
No, I've let people know he's streaming.
Right, so now he needs to talk to me.
Yeah, well,
Three,
when they ask me
two,
questions, 'cause I don't know what to
But
say
ask
without.
questions, Lucas. So you've got to start.
I don't know what to say without questions. I need you then.
Let's talk about Lucas. Right, so I'll do it from here. So I'm not on your screen.
Yeah.
Right, what's your daily routine to deal with, with your ADHD?
Well, like my daily routine, or just about my ADHD stuff.
Yeah. We'll talk about why do you need to take a tablet? So tell me why you need to take a tablet. Tell me what you're about to talk about and why you need to take a tablet.
I take tablets every day. It does change my mood a lot.
What do the tablets help?
My behaviour. They help with my behaviour a lot.
Your behaviour.
Behaviour.
Concentration.
They help with my concentration a lot as well. It can be forgetful and it's something that can get in my way sometimes.
In what way do you mean you can get in your way?
Like maybe from like running late to school or something, and I need to take one.
Perhaps somebody should spend 45 minutes in the shower in the morning. It's too hot.
Okay, so do you notice a difference?
Yeah, there is a huge difference because when I do take my tablet, I get told off a lot less.
But what about when you're at school? Do you feel it's easy to concentrate after you've taken a tablet?
Yeah, when I'm at school, it does feel like it's easy to concentrate.
So people, what do you do if you haven't taken a tablet when you go to school? What do you do to try and help yourself concentrate?
I have to try and concentrate a lot more harder and think about it.
But what's the most frustrating bits about ADHD?
I don't know.
Is it a confusion you feel, or?
So how did it feel? Because from my experience, Lucas, when I try and explain things, or I
hard.
try and get something over and people don't get me,
Yeah.
it gets really frustrating for me.
Yeah.
Because I try to say it the way I think it makes sense, but to others it doesn't.
Yeah.
So what does that happen when you try and say something and we don't understand?
It makes me feel like I'm not being listened to properly.
And then generally what's your reaction?
I usually just say it again.
Yeah.
Oh, someone
We still don't understand.
subscribed.
Okay, say thank you then.
It's Sad Shadow. Is that the person Edith watches?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
Hey Becca! Edith watching.
Yeah.
Do you know when you're trying to talk,
Yeah.
what's your brain doing? Is it easy for you to get the words out?
It can be sometimes, and sometimes it can be a lot harder.
Why can it be a lot harder?
It's like when I'm talking about my ADHD, it's harder because it's something I don't really think of.
So don't think of it. Is that because you've just lived it?
Yeah. Edith, Rebecca says she
Player
wants
2
it.
wins.
Yeah.
Does she want to ask if she wants some? Ask Rebecca if she wants to eat it.
Do you want Edith? Give her a chance to reply. Maybe. Wait.
Do you want to run over and say hello quickly?
So
Oh, wait,
quickly.
Dinner first.
3, 2, 1, brawl.
Shout too loud.
easy is this for you?
Wait, what do I call the person who's called the rhythm, the treble?
That's Stu.
Thank you, Stu.
Subscribed.
No, he said go Lucas.
I feel you don't process too many things at once.
Yeah.
Like if I say to you, you need to go have a shower, get your teeth, get dressed, wash your hair.
Yeah.
In your mind, you might get out of that shower and
Yeah. Or when you say like, what's for dinner? I can forget it because I'm thinking about other things like doing my bedroom. And then you shout at me because I've asked too many times.
So, listen, right? What's something you do quite a lot of, Lucas? When it comes to dinners?
Complain about it.
No. How many times do you ask what's for dinner?
About 5 times a day.
Right. Now, why is that? How many times do you, how many times do you actually forget? Is it every time you forget, or?
Yeah.
Right. Why do you forget? How many? So, say like you ask in the morning what's for dinner tonight, and we say you've got pie and mash. At what point do you forget, or does it just go straight away?
It's starting to do when I'm doing other things.
Right, so basically as soon as you start doing another task, it pushes out that information. And that happens with a lot of stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, let's have a quick look at what we've got here. Right, Rebecca's just going to lurk because she's about to have her tea. And Stu likes that background. What background? On the go. Oh, unless he means on the game. What? You won't see Rebecca because she's watching this rather than us watching Rebecca. No worries, thank you, Stu. We're just spending the whole time insulting Stu if he ever watches his back on YouTube.
Player one wins.
What, that one? That one?
No.
That one?
It's
At the
top.
top? What, that?
No, that one, no.
Well, that one.
No, you're doing all one.
What one?
That one with the finger. No,
This? That's just a message, it's not a thing, it's just saying that's what you can do. There you go. Go and have your tea. So, what information do you retain, like, easily? Is there anything that just stays in there?
Yeah.
Things that are like more important.
Such as what?
Schoolwork or
So, facts and information stays?
yeah, or something that I have done for a long time.
Okay, no, I get that.
So
Because,
like knowing my bedtime instead of just being like, oh, what's my bedtime every single time or something. Yeah.
so, is that because it's routine?
Yeah.
So, you like routine?
Yeah. And same with all schoolwork and stuff. It's something that I can remember because I do it every day.
Yeah, to be honest, that's the same with me.
you have the same dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be boring.
I'm not saying
But yeah, no, I'm with you there, Lucas. It's
Yeah.
like, obviously, I've started listing the chores I need to do throughout the day, so I most of the time remember to do them. Because I think it's, yeah, information that's not designed to be retained permanently falls out as soon as something else turns up that you need to think about.
Yeah.
Yet, at the same time, when it's come to different types of things, if you look at, you've been wanting to do this stream for, what, about 3-4 days now since we first mentioned it, and you've retained that you're going to be doing that, you knew that you was going to be doing that.
Yeah, so I've mentioned it a few times.
But what do you think the difference is? Because we will say to you a few times,
Yeah.
don't forget to clean up or make sure your bedroom's tidy or do this and do that, but that information goes.
Because it's like when I play my Xbox, it's something I remember, and when you do your streams, it's something that's happened for quite a while now, so I know it's something that's going to happen.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the games that you play. Is there certain types of games that you find easier to play with your ADHD, or are there types of games that you really struggle with because of the amount of information you need to keep?
Well, there's games like Rocket League that's hard for me, but I still like the game because it's something that it's just like I like.
So maybe not that, because yeah, it's a hard game to play, but it's easy to actually play.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get good at. Same as Brawlhalla, it's easy to play but hard to get good at.
No, it's
but
easier
what
to get
about
good at.
what about when we've tried stuff like City Skylines, where after a little while you've got to remember how to not only manage small parts of the city, but the overall city, the budgets. And all the little micromanagement bits. How do you feel about those? Does that struggle with that, or?
Yeah, it's games like that, like where you have to do lots of things to get other things done. Because I'll be like, oh, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And I wouldn't know. And I'll get confused and just not play it.
Why do you think that is?
It's because it's something that I'll just forget again.
So, do you reckon it's the same? Do you know when you play sport?
Yeah.
Do you think it comes the same as when you put? Come on.
It's not me, isn't it?
You've done football, ice hockey, and tried other sports.
Yeah.
Now with ice hockey, as we know, you do that in 90-second shifts generally on the whole. You're out there for around 90 seconds, sometimes more, sometimes less.
Yeah.
So you're laser focused for that minute and a half.
Yeah.
Do you find it easier to do a shift in ice hockey than you do a full game of football, because there's less to remember while you're on the ice and you've got that laser focus?
Yeah.
So do you think it's the same for games like this, where they're short burst games, you can laser focus on them and then you can then refocus the next time you play, rather than other games where you've got to be focusing on many different things at the same time?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or? I'll let you finish this and I'll ask you another question with regards to your ADHD. And again, if anyone in the chat has any questions they want to ask, then please do. Because this is the blind leading the blind a little bit. T-Rex. There were T-Rex. What T-Rex? Stu said that T-Rex was awesome.
I don't know.
My name is. Everyone has cool names. I'll send the message, I'll know what it is.
Probably whatever your email.
Yeah, it's whatever you signed up as.
I can't remember.
You love chicken. I don't know.
You can type in chat and have a look.
I sent you a message.
So, while you're doing this, Lucas, right, another question is regards to relationships.
Yeah.
When I say relationships, I mean with friends and stuff like that. to be open with it.
Yeah.
It's something I felt you've always struggled with. Not to have friends, but to keep friends close, because I think people struggle to understand you.
Yeah.
What do you feel? Do you feel that's an issue you have sometimes?
I think that's what it is.
Why do you feel that is?
Player one win.
I don't know really.
So, to give an example,
Hey!
you're not really one for going out and about and socialising, are you? You won't go and hang around in town and stuff like that. You don't really particularly like that. Yet, obviously, we see like some of your friends through sort of hockey and football. That's the sort of thing they like doing. So, do you feel like you become a bit of an outsider at times?
Yeah.
So, how does that generally make you feel? Do you feel left out, or do you feel?
I
Are
feel
you
left
quite?
out because games is where I get to chat with my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Because when I don't get out, I'm sometimes on my phone or my Xbox.
Yeah. So do you feel more comfortable talking to people when you're doing it? Hi, Paula. Paula is Steve's other half.
What?
Steve, Moose Grinder. You've met Steve.
Oh.
Do you remember when we met him in the pub in Sheffield and we played some games? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Steve. That's Moose Grinder, and that's his other half. His partner. So do you think it's games that helps you with like talk to friends, or is it just like
Yeah.
So is that
So
because
these games are designed to like be able to talk to your friends and play together.
yeah? So what do you think you would? What do you think it would be like for you? Because this is very. I suppose this could be very difficult for somebody your age to understand. But when I was your age, if I wanted to play a game with somebody, I had to actually go round their house, which I struggled with. Being able to go around someone's house, I always felt a bit lacking confidence with stuff like that. How do you think you would cope with having to be around someone's house only to be able to chat to them and play games? Would that be something you'd struggle with?
I don't know.
Definitely depends what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, because obviously I found it a lot easier to talk to people I've never met before and stuff like that, because you can do it through the safety of online. But you know, like your say your best friend at the moment. We won't mention his name because obviously it's doing this publicly. But did you get to know him at school properly, or was it mainly through playing games that you got to know him?
It was mainly through playing games, and then we got to know him more at school when we learned about each other on the game.
So you found with video games, it's a great way of being able to use common ground, I suppose, to make friends.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking as well that he also has ADHD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which helps it a lot more
I think so.
to understand.
Yeah.
I definitely think so, because I think prior to having that friend, you didn't have any friends that had ADHD.
Yeah.
And I don't think they really understood you, the other friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, which makes it tough because I think you've always been in a position where people were happy to know you,
Yeah.
but found it difficult to not be around you. It's a very hard one to explain. Found it difficult to be close friends with you because you don't. You see the world differently to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's the same I've always struggled to sort of like I, you know, for me going down the pub and stuff like that and chatting with people is something I struggle with, but I could sit here and do this sort of thing all day long. So yeah, I suppose there's that side of things as well.
3, 2, 1.
So,
ball.
how do you? I mean, when you say you get on well, obviously with your friend because he's got ADHD, not because he's got ADHD, but it helps because he's got ADHD. Hiya, Duffy. Yeah, it helps because he's got ADHD, but do you find sometimes he does things that you struggle to understand and you do things that he struggles to understand?
Oh yeah.
And then how do you deal with that? Because I've never really heard you have an argument with him and stuff like that. So how do you generally deal with that? Or do you not know? It's okay to not know at the same time. That's fair enough.
I think you both complement each other very well and you bounce off each other very well. And what you might lack in one thing, he has, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And also, you're both gobby when you're on the Xbox.
Yeah.
See, one of the things I find interesting about you, Lucas, I still think this is an ADHD thing rather than just a you thing. I've always described you as you're one of those proper annoying kids who doesn't matter what they try, they're immediately decent at it.
Yeah. Such a dick.
No, I don't mean like games and stuff like that, but when you got into hockey and skating and you got into it quite quickly, became quite good at it. Football, you started football late compared to many other kids and you was good at it after literally a few weeks. You got an understanding of it and to become like quite an important player. When it comes to cooking, you sound like you don't know what you're doing, but you produce really tasty food time and time and time and time again. And now photography is something else. So why do you think that's an ADHD thing that has made you be able to pick things up easily? Or is that something else, would you say?
I don't know, because it can happen to anyone, can't it, really?
It can. But
You have to be...
So for example, I'm not good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's why it's sort of like, it's a weird one because I don't think it is ADHD that makes you good at stuff like that. I'm not good at a lot of things. I like to be, and I try hard to get good at things, but I'm not instantly good at them.
Yeah.
Whereas you seem to be naturally gifted at most things you try. And they're all very different, you know. I think photography and cooking and being good at sports, and you say we see from your school reports you're pretty good at all your subjects as well. But you seem to hit a point where, and this is where I think your ADHD becomes, I don't want to say it's an issue, but has a major effect on you. And that is where you get to a point where you then start to plateau. Do you know what plateau means? You start to level off your rate of learning and improving. And then because you don't learn as quickly, or you're not getting as exponentially good as you was before, and it slows down, you get frustrated with that, and you don't know how to cope with that frustration. I know, doing well. And rather than pushing through it and going, oh, I'm going to have to get better,
Yeah.
you kind of expect your talent still to take you through, and I think you struggle sometimes with comprehending the extra work that's needed for something.
Yeah.
So one of the things we often do as parents is we try and push you a bit in terms of, so like with your ice hockey, for example, when you did that, we say to you, if you want to get better, you've got to train every day. You've got to go out and do run.
Yeah.
You've got to do exercises. You've got to do stick handling, and we had to remind you. Now, wrongly,
It's not something I wanted to be reminded about. I wanted to be able to just do it without being reminded.
of course. So,
But it's something I had to be reminded because it's ADHD.
So wrongly, I think, looking back now, we would get frustrated with you because you wouldn't. You'd forget, or there'd be excuses as to why you wouldn't and stuff like that. And I think that's a lack of understanding from our part. Because obviously, Mum doesn't have ADHD.
Yeah.
And even though I have it,
You struggle to understand it.
No. I grew up. Don't forget, I'm only discovering now. Everything, all the issues I had are probably down to ADHD. And that I'm only now discovering what it means.
Yeah.
Because I was basically, if I'd done something wrong, I'd done something wrong. If I misspoke or didn't have a filter and things like that, that was me being a dick. Or, you know, just being awkward and stuff like that. It was treated differently back in the 80s and 90s than it is now. It's still misunderstood now, but more people are accepting of it now. So I know, Rodney, we would get frustrated at you if you wasn't sticking to doing the things that we know that you should be doing to get better. And then seeing others trying harder around you and getting better and things like that. So the reason I bring that up for you, and this could be difficult to talk about, if you don't want to, we will stop talking about this part. But I've spoken about this before, and I've been quite open about this before with you, about you, is when you played ice hockey at Chelmsford.
Yeah.
I don't care about mentioning names there, mentioning the name of the club there. Kids were horrible to you and bullied you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stu, appreciate it. We're trying to be informative. It's a different perception when it comes from a child, I think. But yeah, so you was bullied at Chelmsford.
Yeah.
And we spoke about it. All started almost moments after, as a team, we won nationals.
Yeah.
And you scored the game-winning penalty, which will always live with me. How amazing that was, that whole weekend.
Yeah, you should have the video somewhere.
We do, yeah. If anyone wants to watch that video, by the way, I'll share that video at some point. Do let me know.
Why isn't it public on your channel?
Reasons. But certain kids started being horrible to you.
Yeah.
After that, and then it grew from there, and it kind of ruined your enjoyment of hockey, I think. Do you think it did?
A little bit, yeah. Then it started getting worse.
It got really bad at one point. So with that, but you never wanted to quit. I think you refused to quit, and I remember you. I don't know if you'll remember this, and I think you told us why. But can you remember why you said you didn't want to quit Chelmsford at the time? No. We said to you, we basically went, Lucas, please just give up hockey at the time, okay? Yeah. And you said to us, if I give up and I leave, they're just going to bully someone else.
Yeah.
You wasn't wrong. So you stayed and took on the bullying.
Yeah.
And I suppose we've never really asked you why. Why did you take on the bullying? Rather than letting someone else have that pain.
It's because I guess when I first started ice hockey.
So it's because you felt loyal to Chelmsford?
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember at one point, you coming home in tears and saying that basically you wanted to move.
Yeah.
And you wanted to go to Stretton.
Did I?
Yeah, you said I'm going to Stretton because you didn't think there was any other option. We ended up moving you to Romford.
That wasn't for a good 18 months later.
Yeah, that wasn't for a good while later. And I noticed a difference in you straight away since going there. You was playing at one point. You was playing ice hockey because you felt you had to.
Yeah.
That was clear to me. You felt you had to play ice hockey. rather than you wanted to do it because you enjoyed it, then I think the move for you done you really good because you started to enjoy it again.
Yeah.
To a degree. I still don't think you ever found that love that you originally had for it. But you started to find that again.
I just get a character real quick. It's free.
Yeah, that's fine. There's the ADHD, by the way. Mid-conversation, can I get a character? So...
Where is it? Characters.
I don't know. So the reason I'm bringing this up and the question I'm getting to is one of the things I know people with ADHD suffer with is major change.
Yeah.
But on that occasion, I felt that major change had a real positive effect on me. Did you notice it? Did you notice a difference in your enjoyment of playing and stuff like that, or did that not register with you?
It kind of did, yeah. Because I felt happier.
Yeah.
And I wasn't coming home.
3,
I just
2,
wasn't being upset about it.
So did you feel?
You're gonna have to need this dog spot.
I'm trying to think what the right word is. There was do you feel there was more of a respect that you used?
Yeah.
Okay. So, just to be clear with this, you've also then started football as well.
Yeah.
And how did that? Because there's a difference in the way I think that team backs together. You said one of the things with you in ice hockey. Weirdly, you're small at ice hockey.
Yeah.
He's not small. He's not on the pitch. Whereas you're more.
There's one player taller than him.
But you're more in charge. You're more level with size-wise with your other players in your team at football. Now, you're not a giant compared to them. You're not that much smaller that it makes a difference. And I noticed much more of a confidence about you
Yeah.
at football. So, do you feel more confident when you play football? Again, why do you think that is?
Coach.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything to do with that. And even when you played under other coaches, you were very confident with how you played.
How do you play it? How do you play it?
I play what? He kicks a ball around the football pitch, Ian, if you know how football works.
How's that thing?
We haven't got a football game on here.
How does it die?
I don't know.
What do you do? What do you do?
Player 2 wins.
Okay.
The
Sorry?
walls.
No, that's not the
You want to play
rules.
football on here?
Custom.
So, okay, here's a question.
Oh no, it's not too many.
Go back to your medication. Go back to your medication with
Yeah.
this. How do you feel your medication affects you when it comes to playing sport?
It definitely helps. Definitely helps.
Right. In what way? In what way do you think it
Helps me
helps?
concentrate more, so I don't just run around doing whatever.
And
We need more players.
We know, we're just waiting for someone to choose their legend.
Who are we choosing?
I don't know.
We're missing a
look,
player.
careful, Weeds.
Oh, sorry. We're missing a player.
Okay, there'll be another one soon. Don't worry.
Oh, I like football so much. When I play for my one's reaching out just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that before, but Jay's not joining in.
No, Jaden's not playing.
No, he's banned.
No, it's because Lucas is on my account.
Yeah.
So when we talk about ADHD in children,
Good.
we'll cover this. It took us a long while to get Lucas diagnosed with his ADHD because of the position my mum has working with an ADHD charity. We learned a lot of the techniques for being able to allow him to basically be to function basically in school and stuff like that. So it took a long time to be able to get him diagnosed. I don't think when we talk about ADHD we're going to have the same issues with this. She's basically going to have ADHD tattooed on her forehead. Yeah, so that's actually a very good point. So when it comes to ADHD, I'm going to throw this open to the chat. When someone says to you ADHD, and I want to know what your priors are thinking about this, not what you think maybe now, but when you heard the term ADHD, what was your initial thoughts on what it was? Because I've always found that interesting. I've had the misconception before, but yeah. So chat, basically, what did you always think ADHD was?
Every player's been missing. Look, everyone's in mid-ball. Look, everyone is. Oh, I didn't even touch the team. Yeah, that one. I really want you. No, I really want
That
you.
one. There you go.
Please, Dory, please.
Maybe another time.
So your mum says a naughty kid. Was that your preconception? Yeah.
That's what I thought you wanted to know.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, no, it is, yeah.
Well, on that one, don't worry about me, please, because I'm not the bad. I'm the
3,
guy.
2, 1,
I've no
brawl.
idea.
Me, 'cause I'm the bad.
Yeah, so essentially, the misconception, and we always got this when we mentioned it about Luke, that he had ADHD. The amount of people that believe trouble concentrating. Go to Mummerset. Yeah, so basically these are the misconceptions. Is one, it's an excuse for kids being naughty, and the other is just purely they can't concentrate. Now, I've had a couple of those misconceptions before. And one of the things we always got with Lucas, when people would say he's got ADHD, the reaction would always be, but he's not naughty, he's a good kid. He's like, yeah, and we know that's not nothing to do with it. And again, the trouble concentrating thing is a prior misconception, because it can actually be the total opposite at times. It's not... Yeah. But it's the concentration. It can also result in hyper-concentration, whereby you will take a subject, you will do that subject, and you will focus entirely on it. I've seen that in
That's what I
myself.
said earlier, because I forget about other things and concentrate on the only one thing.
Yeah. So it would be, for example, where, for example, this. Lucas will struggle to talk properly and engage in a full conversation while he's playing this, because his focus is on that at that moment. And it's why I think he does well at school, because when you're at school it's structured into you're going to do this at this point and this at this point, so they can laser focus on that. Yeah, and that's why I struggle with the diagnosis. But when you give him a choice, so if we was to leave him at home and go, right, Lucas, yeah, you can have the games console, but can you get the washing up done, sort out your bedroom, and just give the place a quick tidy round?
I'll miss out one or two things.
He'll forget, because he'll get laser focused probably on one of them, which is usually the Xbox, which is why we generally try and do that last. But he gets laser focused on it. Now, this is where we're wrong on it, is he will then get told off because he's not done what he needs to do. And we know that's wrong on our part, but it's a frustration on our part as well because we tried working on techniques with him, and we tried ordering it in such a way, and you know, we're only human ourselves, so we do get frustrated. Apart from Edith, who obviously is the devil incarnate. Her horns are going to come out soon. So yeah, it's that. I suppose it's the same with me, and I've only learned it is I'm an obsessive with my ADHD.
Them on this really hurt my ears.
You can try and change it.
I don't know how. I'll do it after this match.
I'm obsessive with my ADHD, so if I get an idea and I want to follow it through, then I will focus so much on that one thing, and I will obsess over it. It's one of the reasons I don't really drink all that much. I don't gamble, because the obsessiveness does lead to addiction as well. You know, I'm addicted to... I got addicted to collecting retro games at one point, and then I've got the obsessiveness comes from starting mental health gaming. I decided I needed to do it. I wanted to do it, and I obsessed about it. And you know, thankfully, it's been a positive thing. It's not wrong to tell someone they've done wrong. You can be understanding about why, but it shouldn't stop you. No, of course. And this is one of the things, and this is where it becomes quite frustrating. Because some people will use ADHD as an excuse. If Lucas does wrong, if he chats back, even if it's an ADHD triggered, he will get told off for it. He will get bans from the Xbox and things like that, and he will get shouted at. We will never turn around and say to anyone, if Lucas has been an arsehole to someone, which he generally isn't, but if he was, we wouldn't go, it's just his ADHD, because I don't like it being used as an excuse. But what people don't seem to understand at times is, when is it a kid being naughty, and when is it their frustrations at what's happening around them. And I remember one example with Lucas when he was younger. I think I spoke about this before, but for anyone new watching or listening, we went out and I said to Lucas we was going to get him a game that day. I can't remember what the game was, possibly NHL.
Sunset Overdrive?
No, it was years ago. Can't remember what the game was particularly, but he was going to go out and I said to him, yeah, we'll get me that game.
Is it driver?
Yeah.
But anyway, what?
Didn't that say we upload the cat one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
was.
when it's done, we'll sort it. Okay, yeah. But basically, we're going to get in the game. We went into one shop and they didn't have it, and he was okay with that. Went into another shop, didn't have it, he was okay with that. And then we went to what was always going to be the last shop to try, and they was out of stock there.
What game was he?
And then, as I said, I don't think it was Driver or anything. I just can't
It
remember.
wouldn't be Driver because I went on my own.
That's why I think it was possibly NHL, because that you won't get many places carrying. But anyway, it doesn't matter what the game is. It doesn't. It really doesn't matter what the game is.
I need to find it now.
And then Lucas, because he couldn't have that game, which he was promised that day, which he was going to get.
Mario Kart!
No, it wasn't Mario Kart. It was years ago.
Yeah. When we got the Switch.
No!
Was it not?
Way before that. I think it was on the Xbox 360 still.
Oh.
Right. Anyway, he basically lost the plot in game. Got really upset, really angry, started shouting. I remember someone looking at me in disgust. Absolutely looking at me in disgust because he had lost the plot. I was trying to explain to him that I can order it online and we'll get it delivered, and he wouldn't accept that because I promised him the game today. He was still, in my mind, I was still ordering him the game. He was still getting the game today, which would take a couple of days to be delivered. But the logic in Lucas's brain was, I promised him that game and now I was backing out of that promise. And he reacted in a way that then, 7-year-old, possibly 8-year-old would react. He got upset, angry, shouting, and yeah, he looked like he was being naughty, but he wasn't. And people don't understand that. But it's led to me, you know, I generally won't now if I see a kid kicking off.
You had 2 chocolates.
It won't just be, oh God, that parent can't control them. And it's the same with Edith. I've had her call it walking through town calling me a dickhead because I've not let her have something.
Yeah, screaming is now because I won't give her any more vanilla ice cream.
3, 2,
Screaming at
1, brawl.
She's had blocks.
and so it's learning about how to deal with certain things and how you speak to a child with ADHD. Just really being careful with your words. And again, this is not to say that we've perfected that, so I don't think you can perfect that. We will often say something to him, and then when he comes back to us, well, you said this, we get the whole bugger, we did. We shouldn't have said it like that.
Like the battle
Down
pass.
the motorway, I want something to eat. You're gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
Well, exactly 1 minute later, where is it?
Yeah, and yeah, that's always a great example. Yeah, back in the car, get hungry. Most people would understand, like, when we next stop somewhere, you can have something to eat. ADHD, at a younger age, is I am hungry, I must eat, make me eat. And don't understand why you've got to drive still maybe another 20 miles to get what you need. But yeah, it's only... He was being naughty, yeah, but the reasons behind it were different and more complex. People don't get that because it's invisible. Yeah. And it's still, I think, one of the most... Again, this is what you deal with as well. Edith losing the plot. There we go, you dickhead. So, what we're going to do is we will wrap this up in a minute because we've got an overtired younger one. But there's a stark difference between Edith and Lucas, and it's something I've always found interesting. As parents, we've never been afraid of swearing or swearing in front of our kids. We've always made it fairly casual because I didn't want it to be a big thing. Edith will quite happily swear left, right and centre. She'll make a sailor blush. Lucas absolutely refuses to swear. Absolutely refuses. He will not even say one of his teacher's name because his teacher's name is Dr. Pratt. So he won't even say that. So why won't you ever swear?
It's just a bad thing. I don't like it.
But we've often said to you, we don't care if you swear.
Yeah.
In the right context, but it's not just that it's a bad thing because I get that, but it's okay to like some things that are bad. You know, technically playing too many video games is bad,
Yeah.
but you'll still do that. So I just wondered, you know, what do you think would happen if you swore?
I know. Not much. It's just I don't like it.
Which is fair enough. But how does it make you feel when you hear like mum and dad and even your little sister swear?
I know.
Does it bother you?
No, something is your choice.
There is no vanilla ice cream.
Which I always find really weird. Like again, that he's whatever it is, he's decided he's not going to swear, and I just find that remarkable in a child because I remember at 13, every other word out my mouth was a swear word when I was out with mates, just because. Oh yeah.
I know.
But anyway, what we're gonna do, Luke's gonna finish off this round and we'll call it because little one's getting tired, which is screamy, and it's not fun for anyone. Yeah, it is. It's a filler in places where you could say something more intelligent. But sometimes there's nothing more intelligent than you fucking dickhead, in all fairness. Oh, you dickhead fucker, is she? That's a good one for Edith, that's what she likes.
Get out the freezer.
So, with the stream, It's probably not been as concise as I would have expected. It's the first one I've done with Lucas, and it's mainly to encourage him, and I've spoke more than he has, which wasn't the plan.
You started talking about yourself.
I don't spoke about myself. I started talking about you asking you questions and experiences. But again, it's probably a good example of ADHD. Become laser focused on that, and I basically got verbal diarrhea. We will do more of these with some other games and stuff like that. Whether it'll be every Thursday or not, Lucas, I don't know. We might do it on a different day.
Thursday seemed good.
But we'll see what goes from there. But to everyone who has watched, thank you very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you do want to, because we haven't mentioned it today, if you've got Twitch Prime and you haven't yet for October, please feel free to use your Prime subscription on us. One of these days you might hit the payout marker. We've got a while to go yet still, but hopefully we'll get there and it all helps. But again, no worries if you can't or just don't want to. That's absolutely fine. This will be up on YouTube at some point. Don't know if I'll edit any of it. Depends if I can be bothered to edit.
Is that the first part where I didn't speak or anything?
No, that'll stay in. All stays in, because I keep the timer there. So I think that's the end of that. Luke's just won yet another game. I think he's pretty good at it. So he's not going to start another one because he will get told off if he does. So he's just being told now. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Dickhead.